Well, hello everybody, welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making some muffins. Now these are going to be apple butter muffins with some sultanas in. And the reason I'm making these is that I made some apple butter for something else that I was doing, a savoury dish, or two savoury dishes in fact. And I have rather a lot left, so I thought, well, I'll use some up in these muffins. Now, we don't get apple butter in the UK in the stores, and it's a bit of a palaver to make it, so you could use apple sauce, and if you use apple sauce then you need to put at least a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon into this recipe, which I'm not going to do because I have cinnamon in my apple butter. So for the ingredients, I have 190 grams, which is a cup and a half of plain flour, and then I have 150 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar. I have 75 grams, which is a third of a cup of unsalted butter, which I've melted and allowed to cool down. I have one medium egg, which would be large in the USA, 310 grams of apple butter or apple sauce. That actually works out at 1 1/4 cups. I have 75 grams, which is half a cup of sultanas, which I've soaked in some hot water for about 10 minutes and then drained. And then I have half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. And as I say, if you were using apple sauce, use 1 or 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, depending on your taste. I have half a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. And the first thing I'm going to do is to put the baking soda, the baking powder, the salt, the nutmeg and the cloves, and you would put the cinnamon in as well if you were using the cinnamon, into the flour. I'm just going to mix those around, and then I'll set those aside. So then what we need to do is to mix the sugar and the butter together. And then add the egg in and mix that in. And then add the apple butter or the apple sauce in. Now I should say I have my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. And I have a muffin tin with some paper cups in. So I'm going to mix the apple butter so we have a nice smooth mixture like that. And then I'm simply going to fold the flour into the mixture until it's all incorporated. We don't need to overwork this because it's a muffin mixture. And as that's becoming incorporated, I'll drop in the sultanas. Now you could also add some chopped nuts if you wanted to, walnuts or pecans or whatever. So just mix it until it's combined, and I think I'll get 6 to 8 muffins out of this. So with that done, it's a case of putting it into the muffin tins and baking them. So just take a scoop or a spoon and fill the mixture probably about 3/4 full. So I actually got 12 out of that, and I think part of that is because the baking soda reacted very quickly with the acidity of the apples. So I've used 12 paper cases, and I'm going to bake those in the oven for about 18 to 20 minutes until a skewer in the centre comes out clean. Then I'll take them out and cool them down, and then I'll come back and show you the result. So I baked the muffins for just over 20 minutes, and a skewer tested in the centre came out clean. So I've let them cool down, and this is what they look like. They've got a nice texture inside, and I'll have a taste. They're nice and moist, and they have that sort of fruity flavour, but also the spices come through. So these are very easy to make, and because I had the apple butter sitting there and I've still got more, that's what I thought I would do. I may actually make an apple pie and use some of the apple butter inside the pastry base and then put apples on top. If I do that, I'll make a video of that as well. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, which will take you to the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video for it as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.